Okay, so I want to talk about something today that's probably going to make a lot of artists and composers and musicians feel a little uncomfortable or out of their depth, and that is royalties. What do you do after you have a piece of music synced or bought out for a commercial or a TV show? And I'm sure you're imagining, well, nothing, right? I'm doing pretty good. I got my payment. There's nothing else I need to do. It's registered with the PROs. But that's not exactly the case. But don't worry, in this video, I've set up a step-by-step guide to make sure that you can lock in all of your royalties, make sure that they're tracked correctly, and that all of that information is getting over to the PROs. Let's get into it. Let's use a basic example. You've written a piece for a music house for a commercial and they've bought it out. Big congrats, that's not an easy thing to do. I know a lot of people who are trying to do that on a daily basis. And you're probably thinking, I don't really need to do anything else. I've got my buyout fee for the master and the publishing portion. I just need to make sure that it's registered with my PRO, and I'll just start seeing royalties after my piece airs with whatever content it's on. Unfortunately, and why I'm making this video, it's not exactly what happens. If you do not know what a PRO is, I suggest checking out some other videos that are already on YouTube. There's a plethora of information from other people. So check those out and then come back here to get a little bit of a deeper dive into the following steps. Now, if the company that paid you a buyout fee for your composition to be used in their commercial has a publishing entity, then that publisher will most likely be registering on your behalf. But it can't hurt to still register with BMI or ASCAP. On the back end, BMI and ASCAP will merge these registrations so that all of the information is in one place and correct. If the company that bought out your piece does not have a publishing entity and does not have any interest in registering this piece under a publisher, then it is definitely up to you to make sure that you register with your PRO. Once your composition is registered, you will receive an ISWC through your PRO. That's your song's international ID for tracking purposes. All right, next up, you'll want to sign up for these three companies: Soundmouse, BMAT, and probably TuneSat as well. These companies track where and when your music is being played on various broadcasts by using an audio fingerprint that they have tied back to your original audio and composition. Soundmouse and BMAT are free for composers and musicians to join, and TuneSat has a free tier so you can join and test it out. Okay, so you've signed up for all of these websites. Now we need to get to uploading your track. Each website is a little bit different in their upload process, but you'll want to make sure that you have as much metadata information as you can before you dive into the upload process. All of this additional information makes it way easier for these companies to correctly register and track your piece. For advertisements or commercials, you'll need to sign up for Vivvix. The importance of Vivvix is that it lets you, as the composer, search the commercial that your music is used on. And I'm sure you're probably saying, well, I could just go on YouTube and find the video. That's not that big of a deal. What Vivvix does is they give you an ad code for your commercial, along with a ton of other important information. Some of the necessary information that you'll get from Vivvix is the ad code, the initial release date, and also the title of that commercial. Once you have all of that information, we now have to head back to the PROs. As you can see on the ASCAP website, they list out all of the information that you need to have and submit to them in order to make sure that they are tracking and paying you out correctly for your music being used in this commercial. They say you need to have the first air date. You need to also have the ASCAP work ID, which is the work ID associated with your composition when you first registered it back with ASCAP. You need to have the product or the PSA name. You need to have the source of the music, something that's not associated exclusively with the commercial. And you will also need the coveted Vivvix ad code. BMI asks for essentially the same thing, but they list it a little bit differently. They ask for the song title, which also includes the BMI work number, much like the ASCAP work ID. They want a link to the video. They ask for the duration and also the advertiser. They want the ad campaign, which is usually just the title of the ad that you found on Vivvix. They'll ask what the product is. They'll ask what the territories are. They will ask for the original air date and the ad code that you get from Vivvix as well. So you've basically done it. And I know it's a ton of work. Making this video was exhausting. Tracking royalties is exhausting, but it is so important. I cannot tell you how much falls through the cracks And I get it. You just want to make music. You do not want to focus on this stuff. But spend like one day a month, one day a week if you really want to, making sure that any piece that you've done for any sort of visual medium is correctly registered to be tracked so that you are getting those royalties. At the end of the day, when that quarterly payment comes around and you're like, I took all the steps to make sure this happened, but you're not seeing the payment, you can go back to the PRO and be like, hey, I gave you the information, what's going on here? And they will rectify it relatively quickly, I think. At the end of the day, I really made this video just to try and help the community. If I missed something, please list it below, because this is a topic of conversation that is very dense and it seems like it's consistently changing. I really hope that this was helpful in some way to anybody out there who's watching right now. If you dig it, you already know we're on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later.